Hello and welcome to Habit Nerd, a podcast show that knows that few things can have a more powerful impact on your life than improving your daily systems, habits, and mindset. I'm your host, Dr. Bree Hurn, a multi-passionate researcher, lecturer, speaker, and coach. Once a perfectionist who was always busy but not necessarily effective, I overcame illness and burnout and am now obsessed with sharing the science and systems for working with efficiency and habits for abundant health in your mind and your body. Each week, my guests and I share stories and lessons backed by research. So let's buckle up and dive straight into today's empowering conversation. Hello there and welcome back to another episode of the Habit Nerd podcast. We are discussing on today's episode mental and emotional energy. Now, we discussed physical energy on our last episode together, but mental and emotional energy are inextricably linked to our physicality and our physical well-being. So we really can't divorce the physical from the mental and the emotional. Now, I am obsessed with protecting my physical, mental, and emotional energy. When I'm able to do that, when I'm able to be mindful about my use of energy output, it is an absolute game changer for helping me get through my work, for all my family and social commitments, and helping me enjoy an abundant life full of health. I know my coaching clients get a whole lot out of auditing their own energy with the support from me. We look at where energy is leaking in their work, in their physicality, and in their mental and their emotional state. And we also look at where the bucket fillers are in terms of their energy. If you're interested in auditing your own energy across the week, I have got a free audit that you can download from my Instagram account. So go to Habit Nerd on Instagram and you'll find it there. Let's dive into our conversation about mental and emotional energy with a focus on stress. Now, stress, as you would recognize, is your body's natural response to any situation that we find challenging. Stress, though, on our body can have a really negative impact on our energy levels because stress releases in our body the hormones of cortisol and adrenaline. Now, these hormones prepare our body for a fight or flight response, which can be really helpful in short bursts. If you are being chased by a tiger, you absolutely need a healthy dose of cortisol and adrenaline to get away from the tiger. The problem is, many of us are living day to day like we are being chased by a tiger all day, and we're simply not. Therefore, this chronic stress leads to fatigue, to burnout, and it disrupts our sleep. Now, all of that you would recognize compromises our mental and our physical health eventually. So reducing our stress levels and being able to manage the day-to-day stress is really crucial for our energy and our overall health. It's recommended that you spend time with loved ones, doing things that you enjoy. So doing your hobbies alongside your loved ones or doing a hobby solo that fills your cup is really helpful for managing your stress. Another thing is to move every day in a way that lights you up, and even a gentle walk is really beneficial to manage your stress levels. Take breaks and rest when you need to, and take breaks and rests when you feel you don't need to, because that will really prepare your body for when you do have those short bursts of stress, which will happen to all of us because we're human and that is part of the experience. It's really important to look at your never-ending to-do list and see, first of all, on there what is not urgent, because not everything is urgent. And the other thing you can do with your to-do list is circle what is of highest priority today and set yourself a task of maybe 3 things to get through rather than 15, because that will be adding to the overwhelm and that chronic stress response. And the last thing that you can do to help manage your stress is delegate. So is there anything on your long to-do list that somebody else can support you with finishing? Research tells us that expressing gratitude is a huge bucket filler when it comes to mental and emotional energy. Gratitude helps us shift our focus away from negative thoughts and feelings that drain our energy, and it puts our attention on the positive aspects of our life. Showing gratitude helps us feel more centered and grounded, and it promotes emotional balance. Now, gratitude promotes positive energy because it cultivates feelings of joy and appreciation and contentment. When you radiate these positive emotions, you attract more positive energy into your life. As Jim Quick says, what you appreciate appreciates. To practice gratitude, you can do it informally, so by doing it as part of a meditation practice, or just when you open your eyes in the morning, or just before you go to sleep at night, you might like to think of 3 things that you're grateful for. You might formalize the process by writing down 3 things that you're grateful for each day. I know myself, that list can become a bit repetitive because I'm grateful for similar things each day. So I find it more helpful, based on the work of Hugh Van Cuylenberg, to write down what went well that day. Because by writing down what went well, I'm really tuning my attention into all of the small and big things that I'm grateful for, and realizing how much good I have in my life, and that really gives me a burst of energy and good feelings to attract more of that. You could also express gratitude to other people, and you probably remember when you've done this before, it feels really great. And those great warm feelings give you more energy back into your bucket. So you might say thank you to somebody for what they do in your life. You might give somebody a compliment. You might send them a text message. You could even just say to them, I really appreciate you being my friend, or I really appreciate you as my colleague because of A, B, and C. Something that's related to expressing gratitude is to engage in what we would call grounding techniques. Now, we have an innate sense of connection with nature and these elements, and it has been shown that spending time with our natural world really does fill up our cup in terms of our emotional and our mental energy. You might like to do things like walking barefoot on the grass, spending some time in the natural world, so where you can see elements of nature, be that the ocean or some trees. It might be sitting in the sun, and even this can connect you to nature and promote a deep sense of inner peace and harmony. Now, these grounding techniques can reduce your feelings of anxiety and overwhelm because it promotes a relaxation and reduces stress, which, as we've already said, are energy vampires. When you feel more calm and relaxed, you're less likely to be affected by negative energy, and therefore will experience a more positive energy day. A further way to protect your emotional and your mental energy is to declutter your life. This means getting rid of anything that no longer is serving you. So it could be things like toxic relationships. Are there any relationships in your life with people where after you've spent time with them, you feel like you are exhausted, your physical energy has been sucked, and you feel worse off after that exchange? That's the type of person that, if you can, and if it is physically possible, to declutter them from your life. Try and declutter yourself of negative thoughts and even of physical clutter. I know myself, if I look around my office or if I go into my wardrobe and there is clutter and I don't know where things are, that takes up mental and emotional space. So by decluttering, it's like I take a big deep breath, I can exhale, and I know that there is more room for energy for the things that matter in my life. Now, by creating mental and physical space that promotes a calmness, a clarity and focus, you're able to reduce stress and anxiety. And interestingly, decluttering increases productivity and promotes you being able to engage in relaxation and self-care, and encourage you to engage in more positive habits. Another crucial element to creating and maintaining our emotional and mental energy is sleep. When we sleep, our body goes into a state of rest and repair, and that's when we have the opportunity to recharge and to replenish these energy stores. When we lack sleep, we obviously feel fatigued, and then when we're fatigued, our productivity declines, and so does our overall well-being. You might remember a time where you haven't slept well the night before, and you're at work and you feel really foggy and you struggle to make decisions and you really are not at your best. Sleep is really important for regulating our hormones, and that our hormones in this way are responsible for maintaining our energy levels. I talked before about cortisol, and when you don't get enough sleep, your body produces more cortisol than it needs. Therefore, this stress hormone of cortisol leads to feelings of stress and therefore tiredness and sluggishness. Therefore, if you get enough sleep, you will really feel different. You'll feel like you have mental clarity. You'll feel like you can focus on what's important and your focus will lengthen. It means that you're better able to manage your time and prioritize your tasks. And obviously, this can help you maintain and conserve your energy throughout your whole day. Now, habit nerds, let's talk about exercise. Exercise is crucial for maintaining our emotional and our mental health. Exercise releases endorphins, which are basically the feel-good chemicals produced by our body. Exercise also helps boost oxygen circulation in our body, and this helps us function more efficiently and with more energy. Think about those times where you felt sluggish and you felt in a bit of a funk or a rut in the middle of the afternoon. You've gotten up and taken yourself for a walk around the block or even a run. You come back with so much more mental clarity and emotional energy after that. So not only is it a tool to use when we are feeling sluggish, exercise is really important to maintain as a regular habit for our mental and our emotional energy. Now, it might sound counterproductive that if you're feeling tired, you should go out and exercise, but actually I can speak from experience that exercise is an energy bucket filler, not an energy bucket drain. You don't need to be a gym fanatic to be able to reap the benefits of regular exercise. Just get your body moving as regularly as you can. So dabble in exercise forms that you enjoy. That might be walking or dance. It could be running. It could be weightlifting. It could be CrossFit. It could be Pilates. The options are endless. So really think about embedding a regular exercise habit, but also using exercise as a tool when you are feeling a bit of a mental or an emotional energy slump. Another tip for ensuring that your mental and your emotional energy is well looked after is to limit your use of social media. I wonder if you've ever stepped back to consider how much time you're actually spending on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or Snapchat or any of the social media apps on any given day. Of course, social media isn't all bad, but by promoting a sense of constant comparison and doubling down on what we would call the FOMO factor or the fear of missing out, social media really can be a huge energy drain. It comes down to being intentional about your social media usage and creating some boundaries for yourself. A few strategies you might like to consider are: resist jumping on social media first thing in the morning. For myself, I've started charging my phone on the other side of my bedroom away from my bed, so I can't reach for my phone as soon as I wake up. You might schedule regular social media breaks. Someone like me who uses social media for work as well as for pleasure, I am trying to be more mindful about having those areas in my day and in the evening where I can set aside 15 minutes to catch up on my social media as opposed to letting it bleed across my whole day. And you might also like to employ different apps like AppBlock or Forest, because that will help you to enforce a limit on your social media use. And sometimes those external tools are just what we need to be more accountable. I wonder whether it's even feasible for you, and it isn't for many people, and that's okay, but is it feasible for you to remove social media apps from your phone and access them only from your laptop or desktop computer? Something to think about. Habit nerds, I want you to reflect now upon the role of gossip or about talking about other people behind their backs in your life and the impact that that has on your energy. In itself, a little bit of idle gossiping is seen to not be particularly problematic, but pay attention when you find yourself becoming too involved in the lives of others, discussing someone's personal life without their permission, or using gossip as a way to pass judgment on someone else. It doesn't feel great after you've engaged in a gossiping session. You walk away feeling a bit yucky, but also you've just used up your mental and your emotional energy on something that doesn't actually align with your personal values, and that's why it feels yucky. So just have a think about protecting your energy is just as much about shielding yourself from negative situations and people as it is about not becoming a channel for that negative energy yourself. And then something along the same vein is enforcing boundaries. So there may be people that are in your life or in your work that don't make you feel great about yourself after you've spent time with them. They may push your boundaries. They may ask things of you that you aren't comfortable with. They may take advantage of you. There might be a toxic relationship with an extended family member that doesn't serve you. There may be a need for a boundary in doing a certain activity or going to a certain place. So just pay attention and audit your own energy after you have engaged in certain activities alongside other people, or when you've been with somebody and you walk away not feeling great about yourself. You might feel physically exhausted. That is because that activity is outside of the values, outside of the way that you want to show up in the world. So think about if it's possible to put a boundary in place. Is it possible to not go to the social event? Or is it possible to have some protective barriers in place just so that your mental and your emotional energy is protected? So setting boundaries is something else for you to think about. So thanks for spending this time with me, Habit Nerds. I'll just go over some of the main topics that we've talked about today with regard to the energy givers and the energy takers in terms of our mental and our emotional energy. We talked about the need to practice gratitude and engage in grounding techniques out in nature. We talked about the need to reduce stress, to engage in decluttering your life, getting enough sleep and exercising. We talked about limiting social media, being aware of gossip, and also enforcing personal boundaries. I really hope that that was helpful for you, this session that we've spent together today. If you would like more information, I've got lots, and I'm always engaging with my audience over on Instagram at Habit Nerd. I look forward to connecting with you next time. Thank you for tuning into this episode of The Habit Nerd. I hope you found some new inspiration, learned something new, or gained a fresh perspective. If you did enjoy the episode, I would be really grateful if you could please leave a 5-star review, as it helps the show get in the ears of new listeners. Plus, it should only take you 5 seconds. If you're keen for more tips and insights, then head over to Instagram and follow Habit Nerd.